All right, so there's a lot to talk about in this video, and I'm going to start with this clip of Theo Von's podcast with Sean Strickland, where Sean is talking about young Jamie, Joe Rogan's producer, and he mentions how he thinks Joe disciplines him, and he compares it to an abusive father, which, Sean would know about because he grew up with an abusive father. So it's pretty wild that he would say this. I'm sure Joe wasn't too happy about it, but, I guess Sean, he says whatever is on his mind. And a lot of comments are like, Sean's right about a lot of stuff. And someone else said, something tells me this is going to age like fine wine. So I'm sure Joe wasn't too happy about him saying this. And I feel like he might not have him on the pod again.
Gas. What's Rogan's guy?
Jamie,
dude. I was thrown off by Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think Rogan abuses him, dude.
Really?
I think he abuses him, dude.
Like so, what? He like?
I don't know, dude. I think I was
stay up late or something.
Like I think I was picturing like a younger white nerdy kid.
Yeah.
That, no, dude. He's angry.
Is he? I don't know. He just seems like dialed in. He's like a marksman for information.
But I think Rogan disciplines him.
Ooh, you think?
Yeah, because you'll see it, dude. Every now and then Rogan will let that shit slip.
No. It's
weird.
It's sort of like sort of like an elliptical machine.
Every now and then you'll see Rogan discipline him.
Yeah.
Like he'll speak out of turn.
More than all of the vote from some years?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. For Texas specifically.
How about you let him answer since he's the fucking expert?
Oh, yeah.
Like you could tell it's like that abusive father that is at the soccer game that like slips a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, I wonder what it's like when you're at home by himself.
Yeah, so I just thought it was really funny that he would say this, and I don't think it's as serious as he makes it out to be. I don't think Joe's actually abusing Jamie at all, but I'm sure there are moments where Joe yells at him. Obviously there's some clips they just played there, and I would imagine behind the scenes, once in a while, Joe will get frustrated with him and maybe yell at him. But I'm sure Jamie understands that's just what comes with the job. And if he's going to be a producer for the biggest podcast in the world, the only producer for the podcast, he obviously has to be at the very top of his game, which he usually is. He is very good at his job. And I'm sure Joe acknowledges that all the time, and he probably compensates him very well. Like, Joe does seem to be a very generous guy, but he also is very intense at times. It sounded like he used to be even worse. I remember hearing some story about him on news radio, like flipping out at people. Like, if people are taking too long, like Andy Dick specifically, which I guess I understand because it must have been hell working with him. He's probably high every day and it took forever to shoot the scenes. But also, I think I remember a story about Joe yelling at some girls as well on the set of the show. And then also there's the whole Howard Stern thing with him yelling at some girls at a strip club. So he even admits, like, he used to be way more intense and he would get worked up about everything and just easily fly off the handle. But then he said he started to chill out a bit once he started smoking weed. And also, I'm sure once he started making money and there's less stress in his life. But still, there are probably going to be some times where Jamie screws up and Joe lets him hear it. But I don't think it's anything too serious, even though it would be funny one day if Jamie left the podcast and then just exposed Joe like that. I mean, that'd be so funny, but there's no way that would ever happen. And like I said, Jamie does a really good job, and I'm sure Joe is very grateful he has him. And other than maybe disciplining him once in a while, he probably treats him very well. And if Joe ever gets mad at him, he probably just thinks back to when he used to have Redban as a producer, and he's like, all right, it's not that bad. Because Redban, Joe used to get really upset with him at times, like during the podcast. He would just go off on him. And I guess there were times where I thought Joe was kind of out of line. I think I talked about it a little bit in this video. There's some good clips of that. But having Redban as your producer must be frustrating at times. And, that's probably why Joe ended up getting rid of him. He just couldn't take it anymore. And he wanted a more serious producer who's not just going to interrupt all the time. But I will admit, Redban did provide a lot of entertainment to that podcast. And he would say some funny stuff sometimes. And it was just hilarious watching Joe get frustrated with him. Like in this clip right here, Joe's going on a rant about consciousness and how ideas could be like living organisms or something like that. And Brian's just sitting there messing around with an iPad. And, he used to be more of a co-host and a producer. And Joe just stops. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Can you get off of that? We're trying to do a podcast here.
What if like language and ideas literally are like another sort of organism? And what if like they are manipulating our consciousness? What if like language and ideas and all these different things that people come up with, like creativity, and when people are creative about things, they pull these things down out of the air. I mean, what are you doing? You're freaking me out.
Why is this bothering you?
Because I can see it.
How are you seeing that?
Dude, are we going to do this podcast, or are you going to play on the fucking
Hey,
phone?
I'm trying to do some tech support here to see if our Ustream shows could be seen.
Yeah, we don't need to see it. We can watch it on here, man.
All
okay?
right. I don't
We gotta
understand
have
how is
a
this
real
bothering you if I'm
conversation
holding
because you were not having a conversation.
we're not having a conversation. You're talking about theories, and I'm listening.
Talk back, then, motherfucker.
I'm not going to interrupt your theories. I don't understand why
you're sitting there and I'm seeing this flash of your fucking
How are you
iPad.
seeing that?
I am, Brian. Why are you arguing with me? I am, and we're what am I lying?
No, I mean,
no, you're defending yourself when I'm telling you it's distracting.
All right, I'm sorry for listening to you while trying to do some
and doing it more than once when I asked you. It's not tech support,
yes,
dude.
It is.
I'm not at Brian. Stop arguing with me. I'm not asking you to do this.
All right.
Okay. Jesus.
That seemed very unnecessary, Joe.
It's not unnecessary, Brian. You're distracting me. You distract me by web surfing in front of me, and I'm looking at your screen.
Was I web surfing?
Whatever you're doing, I'm seeing you fucking flipping through pages, and you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're not having a conversation.
We weren't having a conversation. You're talking about a theory about something.
Brian,
I'm listening
you see
while
this
doing it.
thing we're doing right here? This is 724 people.
I understand,
This is what's
Joe.
called a podcast.
Joe, you were doing a theory. I was listening to you, but I was
watching you flip through this fucking thing. You're not listening to me.
Because I'm trying to do something for the show,
okay,
Joe.
Brian, don't do it. I told you not to do it earlier.
All right.
This weird just had a little girl spat. A little hissy fit. It's the iPad. It's the fucking evil iPad. He's right. Guy said the iPad's evil. It's causing you to do that.
To what?
To do that.
If I wasn't doing that, I would have been like this, doing the exact same thing.
If we're talking, I would expect that. You know, when you're talking, I do the same. I think, when people are talking to each other, they sit back, the other person listens.
Yeah,
if
but
you're doing a bunch of shit, I'm just telling you, man. If
I
you're
know.
doing a bunch of shit while I'm talking, I know you're not listening to me.
Joe, it's not that. If I were to go off for 15 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, you would do the exact same thing.
Wouldn't.
Yes, you
No,
would.
not when we're doing
You
a
would not let
podcast,
me talk
Brian.
for 20 minutes straight.
Brian, I'm not talking for 20 minutes. And we're doing a podcast.
All right. We're not having a conversation, though.
Brian,
we're
Jesus
talking.
Christ, why are you defending this?
Because you're attacking
It's really
me.
simple. I'm not attacking you.
Yes,
I
you are
told you
attacking
twice to stop looking at that fucking thing that it's distracting
I
me.
will look at this thing then that's in front of us doing the same thing.
No, it's not, because you're not flipping through things and moving stuff around. I can tell you're not paying attention.
All right.
And it's distracting me.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Damn.
Have I looked into the Illuminati?
Yeah, so I just thought that clip was hilarious. And it's crazy what Brian's career could have been like, because he was with Joe Rogan from the very beginning. Like, even before this, I think he was, like, going around documenting a lot of Joe's shows and stuff, and he'd upload the clips to his website. Like, I think he's the one that recorded all the Carlos Mencia stuff. So he was Joe's guy, but then over time, Joe just got more and more annoyed with him, and he just couldn't take it anymore. But still, Red Band, he's doing fine. He produces Kill Tony, and I heard some people say Joe still pays him, possibly. Like, he owns a percentage of those older episodes. I don't know for sure, though, but he could have had a much better career. Like, he could still be producing Joe's podcast. And he also started a podcast production company, I believe, early on, the Death Squad. And he produced so many different podcasts. I think he's doing too many. I think that's where he got a little ahead of himself. And I think maybe next week or at some point soon, I'll make a video just about the Death Squad, because there's a lot to talk about that. But, I think it just turned into quantity over quality, which is where a lot of people go wrong with podcasting. Like right now, it seems like the comedians that just stick to one, maybe two podcasts are doing a lot better than the ones that have 3 or 4, if not more. Like, comedians with the most successful podcasts right now in terms of numbers and that haven't been on a downward trend, I'd say are Theo Vaughn, he only does 1. Joe Rogan, same thing. Tim Dillon, he only does 1. Shane and Matt, I believe that's the only one they do. So it seems like just focusing on one is probably a smart move, because then you compare it to people with multiple, like Brendan Schaub, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura. I think he only does 2, but then he has the whole network, and that's not doing as well anymore. So a lot of comedians got ahead of themselves with podcasting, and they probably figured it would never end, like they just keep growing. But it wasn't that hard to figure out that eventually there'd be way too many of them, and there's not enough people to listen to them. But now I think people are definitely starting to figure it out. So now I'm going to move on to the next topic here. So I wanted to talk about these kick streamers. I'm sure people are kind of aware of this because a lot of people cover it. A lot of people talk about it on Twitter or X. And these two kids, Jack Doherty and Neon, always go viral for just being scumbags, basically. Like, these two are just the worst. And I think everybody on Twitter is praying for their downfall. And some people are praying to see them get killed, basically. Like, if they got beat up, everybody on Twitter would cheer. And the only reason they haven't already is because they walk around with giant bodyguards everywhere they go, so they just feel like they're untouchable. And one time, some older guy tried to attack this Jack Doherty kid, or he just like bumped into him and the kid fell down right away. But this kid, I mean, he is just asking for trouble, and he does not care. I mean, he has no shame at all. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants, and eventually it's going to catch up to him. I mean, he might be the most insufferable person on the internet. Like, I talk a lot about how these podcasters suck, but they are nothing compared to what this kid is like. Just the first 15 seconds of this clip, you're going to be like, all right, I understand the hate.
We got out of there, motherfuckers. Let's go.
Watch your language. There's kids around here.
I didn't say any curse words. What'd I say?
Just watch your language.
What'd I say?
You got a stupid shirt on over there.
Yeah.
Shirt,
your kids can't read, though.
What are you talking about?
Your kids can't read, can they?
I'm seeing your kids watch.
Get away from me.
You started talking to me, buddy.
Get away from me.
You get away from me. Watch your kids. Go walk away.
Get something to say, you motherfucker. Hey,
McKinley, back up.
what the fuck's your problem?
And that's basically the gist of his content, just acting like an asshole and trying to get a reaction out of people. Like, one time he went to a party, and everywhere he goes, it causes a scene just because the kid's an asshole. Like, a few months ago, he went to a party, and I think some girl went and talked to him or something, so he got all pissed off about it and was causing a whole thing. And then some other kid came up to him, and he started arguing with him, and then his bodyguard just punched the kid right in the face, like, for no reason, just because he's being rude to him. So this kid will just do anything for clout, and I think he started YouTube when he was like 14, and he blew up right away, and now this is what he's up to. It's crazy. And also, to clap back at the haters, he'll post his credit card balance. You know, he'll be like, you can talk all the shit you want, but I just spent $240,000 on my credit card in just 2 weeks, so take that. So his whole career at this point is just being an entitled asshole, and that's why everybody would love to see his downfall. And since he spends so much money and probably doesn't save anything, when he does start to fall off, it's going to be ugly, but it's going to be awesome to watch. Like, already, I don't think his streams or his content makes him that much money. You know, spending $200,000 every couple of weeks, you got to be bringing in so much money to do that. And it's not a flex, him showing that off. It just shows he's an idiot that's going to go broke. I mean, his YouTube channel doesn't get that many views, but how I think he makes his money is through OnlyFans. Like, I think there's some girls that live with him and they go on his stream and he probably manages their accounts and helps promote it and everything. Like, recently, one of the girls was talking about it and she said she didn't want to do it, but then he talked her into it.
You didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do it. Are you uncomfortable or not?
I mean, I talked like openly about how I wasn't like planning on doing it, but
Yo.
Oh, they're coming here. Look.
basically I wasn't planning on doing it, and I was very like, no. But then I did it, and I mean, I don't regret it. I haven't changed who I am, and like people that know me know who I am, so it doesn't like, you know.
That's cool. Yeah, and OOFs are a scam anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and this is the other kid, Neon, and it's crazy how confused these people are because he's always shitting on OnlyFans and talking about how bad it is and everything, which I agree with, but then he dates an OnlyFans model. And the other day, this other streamer, Vitaly, who used to do pranks on YouTube, like he's an old school YouTuber, and he is just crazy. Everybody knows he's pretty wild. So he showed up to this meetup or whatever this is and had pictures of Neon's girlfriend printed out and gave them to him and asked him to sign them. So then they started arguing and his girlfriend was right there and eventually she spit on him.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
What's up?
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Nothing. I wanted to get an autograph.
Do you have a problem?
No, the 2 + 2 is 4.
Look how nervous he is.
I'm not nervous.
Oh fuck, you're a grown. You know what's crazy?
Yo, you're dating an OnlyFans girl,
You're a
bro.
grown ass man doing this.
Oh yeah,
Get a
so
grip of your
what?
fucking
You're a
life.
fucking Indian
Doesn't
twin.
matter.
You're an
Doesn't
Indian
matter.
twin,
Doesn't
bro.
matter.
You're a
Doesn't
fucking
matter.
Indian
Suck my
twin
dick.
dick.
Fuck.
Come on, let me suck your fucking dick, bro. Yeah, what's up? What's up, my boy? I'm not gonna touch your boy.
I'm 19 years old. You're a fucking.
I wanted your autograph. I'm a fan, bro. I want to get an autograph, bro. What the fuck did I do?
Do the world a favor and go fuck yourself.
Why are you so hurt, bro? It's okay. I do OF too, bro.
You're a loser.
I'm a loser?
No one gives a fuck about you.
Damn, you're hurt. You're hurt, bro. You're hurt. Oh. We kiss now. Oh.
Yeah, so it is crazy what clout will do to people. I mean, this kid Neon will do anything for attention. I believe he first gained a following on YouTube by just faking his own death and like acting like he was dying and everything. And of course, I would imagine most of his audience is people that hate him and think he's a scumbag, and then little kids who want to see him just act like a scumbag. And either way, this is totally self-destructive. He can't keep this up for much longer. I mean, already every other month, it seems like he's having a breakdown. He's like, this isn't me. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I'm a disgrace. But then he just goes right back to it. Because also, he's playing a character. Like, he's always doing this shtick where he acts like a tough guy and starts shit with people and flips out all the time. But he's clearly doing it for clout. Like, if he wasn't on the internet, if he was just working a normal job, he wouldn't be acting like this. So he's barely even a real person at this point. Everything he does is just to try to get people's attention. And it does work, I'll give him that, but it's not going to end well. Like, either he's going to get his ass kicked or get in serious trouble, or he's just going to lose his mind. Or he realizes how toxic all this is, which he occasionally does. Like I said, it seems like every other month he'll make some video talking about it. And so maybe eventually he'll decide to just give it up. But people, they're praying to see this. Like recently, this was great. He was trying to go to a UFC event. And while he was on his way there, he started acting like a tough guy. And he's like, I'm going to talk shit to Donald Trump. I'm going to go up to him and talk my shit. And people heard about this. People at the event, or maybe somebody on Trump's team or Dana White, they heard about this. And then Neon got a call saying he's not allowed in.
So I'm going to walk up, I'm going to talk my shit to Trump, and then it's going to be a very good experience. And I'm going to talk my shit. I don't care if the Secret Service is there. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to talk shit, so.
Neon's not allowed in.
What?
They dropped your name specifically.
Huh?
They just dropped your name specifically, bro. They said Neon is not allowed in.
In the stadium?
Yes.
What?
Perfect. Thank you. What the hell?
I'm not allowed in the stadium.
You specifically, so now I need to talk to them about refunding the damn money.
Hold on, no. There's no fucking way.
No, you stay your ass in the car.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I hope UFC never allows him in there, and I hope other places give him the same treatment, because it seems like everywhere he goes, it turns into a giant thing, and he always starts some shit. And whenever he gets called out or gets in some trouble, he always tries to backtrack and be like, oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing. I'll do better. But then, of course, he just goes right back to his old content, and he'll never change, because if he does, then the views are gone. People are only paying attention to him because he acts like an idiot. As soon as he stops doing whatever this is, he's gonna fall off and people are gonna forget about him in a second. So here's his apology to the UFC, and of course it's bullshit. He's just saying what he has to get out of trouble.
Apologizing to UFC, Donald Trump, and Dana White for everything I said. And I actually, that night when I said all that, the problem with me is, like, I put the camera on and I black out and I don't realize, and like I actually started to realize it. Like, it hit me in the head, Chad. It hit me in the head that I'm like really like doing too much, like too much. Like, it's not even worth it. Like, I like talk too crazy and I don't even realize it. And it's like, I don't even try to get the clip. It's not even that. I don't even try to go for the clip. It's just, I just say whatever the I want, and I feel like I'm behind a screen when in reality I'm in person. Like, someone could literally just come like and just shoot me in the head, but I don't like understand it, and it's fucked. But I'm not even looking at the chat. I don't care if y'all what the fuck y'all are saying. But I want to sincerely apologize. I didn't mean anything I said.
And this kind of live stream content has been around for a while, but it just recently made a resurgence. Like back around 2016, maybe 2017, this was really popular on Twitch, surprisingly, because now that platform, it went the complete opposite direction. They cracked down on all this kind of stuff. And that's probably why this became popular again, because Twitch went too far in terms of being politically correct and everything. Like originally, Ice Poseidon, he was the first big streamer on there, and he was the first one, I think, to like go out in public and start talking to random people, and he would act like an idiot sometimes. He's definitely a scumbag, but his content, I feel like, was at least more entertaining and more creative than this, and he didn't just have a bodyguard everywhere he went. Like, he would be responsible for the shit he did, and eventually he just got kicked off the platform. But that spawned the most toxic kind of content, and it never went away, but it definitely died down in popularity for a while. Like after 2018 or 2019, maybe, when Ice Poseidon got kicked off and they raided this mansion he had with a bunch of other streamers. So then they went to YouTube and some other streaming platforms. I think they also started their own website. but it's crazy what some of these people do. Like, they just torture each other, and that's what the people watching want to see. Like, just people lose their minds and self-destruct and hurt themselves, basically. Like, a few months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, a guy actually died on one of these streams because he was drinking like crazy. They're always drinking and doing drugs and stuff. And he also took some pills, I think, too. So he was just completely out of it, like barely conscious. And he was standing up, like leaning against some railing. And of course, when this happens, whenever somebody passes out or something like this, everyone just starts messing with them. You know, nobody's ever like, is he all right? Should we check on him? Should we help him out? Instead, they're like, all right, now it's time to mess with them. So they start painting on him. They start slapping him. And eventually he falls over and hits his head on the ground. And of course, they don't think anything of it, and they just continue to mess with him for another maybe 20 minutes until he starts making some weird noises. And then eventually somebody's like, all right, we should just call an ambulance just to make sure, you know. And then the ambulance gets there, takes him away, and he ended up dying in the hospital. And I don't think the streamers even got in any trouble for it, but it's just crazy what these people are like. So while I'm on the topic of streaming, I want to give an update to this video. I think it was this one that I made in June, where I talked about this girl, Amaranth, who's a streamer. I don't know where she streams now, but she's always doing hot tub streams, and she's just always half naked, and she promotes her OnlyFans on there. But in the video about her, I talked about this story that came out maybe a year and a half ago that every streamer, almost every YouTuber reacted to. And it was about her. She said that her boyfriend was controlling her and making her do all this stuff. Like, she didn't really want to do it. He was kind of pimping her out and trying to make money from her. And he controlled all of her accounts and all of her finances and everything. And she started crying on stream about it. And he called her and he's yelling at her and everything. And at the time, all these people reacted to it, like I said. And they're like, this is terrible. This is abuse. This poor girl, she needs to get help. I hope she's all right. But some people here and there were like, you know what, this story sounds kind of fishy. I don't know if it's what she's making it out to be. You know, she could be just doing this for attention because she does a lot of stuff for attention. But of course, if you're somebody that questioned this at all, people would be like, oh, you're victim shaming. How dare you? You know, she's a victim of abuse, clearly. And why would you question her story? But now that time has gone on, it looks more and more like she kind of made it up, or it's just not how she presented it. Like, she exaggerated a lot and did it to try to promote her OnlyFans. Because if you remember, right after all the drama with her husband, she was on stream wearing like a sweatshirt, and she's like, finally, I can dress how I want. I don't need to show cleavage, and I don't need to just do hot tub streams. I can play video games now and do stuff that I want to do.
TV shows again. Just really excited to get back to the type of content and life that I want. More IRL streams with friends and traveling and animals. And I don't have to wear cleavage every day. I can wear clothes. Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free.
Yeah, and absolutely nothing has changed with her content. She's making more money than ever. She's still streaming 24/7, doing the same kind of stuff. Nobody even brings this up to her anymore. And none of those streamers and commentary channels that talked about it originally addressed it again. But people do bring it up on Twitter and stuff. And some YouTube commentary channels have talked about how they think she's lying about it. But the main ones like Penguins, Ludwig, Hassan, of course, H3. You know, H3 ended up doxing some random person and his fans sent them death threats. I think I brought that up in the original video, but all these commentary channels and streamers that addressed it and talked about how it's abuse, none of these people have addressed it again. Like, they haven't even defended her at all either, you know, because people on Twitter have been calling her out and there's been videos about it. But these people, they just don't say anything about it anymore. So it seems like they probably know that they kind of got played, but they just don't want to admit it because it's obviously a bad look for everybody involved. And I did manage to find one streamer who talked about it, and he tried to defend her, but it just made things worse. You know, after watching this, I'm like, all right, I think this is even more evidence that it was all probably made up. Because, first of all, I think this guy's kind of friends with her. And then also, what he said makes no sense at all. It's crazy that he used this as a defense. Like, basically he said, why would she make this up? She's not benefiting from it at all, because then she lets her audience know that she's actually married. And, you know, she was trying to hide that from people because it obviously affects her income. But if she announces she's married, but then she's being abused by this guy, and then she said she separated from him right afterwards, so nothing really changed in terms of that, because now people still think she's single, and they also feel bad for her, so they probably donate even more money, which is the case. He tries to say that she only lost Sims from this, but that is not the case at all.
About it, it seemed fake, but like,
You believe that? I don't, like, there's no reason not to believe. The reason why I believed it is because it didn't do anything for her. After it happened, it wasn't beneficial for her at all, because a lot of simps that watched her streams stopped watching because they found out that she was married. I don't think Amouranth is stupid. And because I don't think that she's stupid, I think that she could very easily predict that if she told everybody that she had a husband, which clearly she made it a secret before then, so why did she make it a secret before then? Because she knew that it was a bad thing, and then she goes and says it, and it causes her to lose viewers, and like people stop watching her as much. Why would, like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would a person who I believe to be smart, why would a smart person who previously was making the right decision decide to randomly make the wrong decision for seemingly no reason? And no sense of benefit.
And then here's another clip of him literally just a week or two later talking about how much money this girl has made.
So the actual amount of money that she's getting is $45 million. This girl is farming. She is farming. Holy fuck, man. Lol messages, people pay her $21 million for messages. I get why the messaging is so popular, but it's astonishing to me that like so many guys are willing to play along with the delusion.
Yeah, so I don't know what the fuck he was saying about her not benefiting from that at all, and she only lost Sims when now she's making almost $60 million a year from OnlyFans. Clearly that did not hurt her at all. I'd say it only helped, and it was only a marketing scheme. And this guy's defense makes me think that even more, because the fact that he would say she lost money from that and that was a bad move doesn't make any sense at all and sounds insane. Like, maybe he would try to say that now the fans don't trust her because she's lying to them, but obviously these people do not care. Like he said, she made, I think, $27 million from messages on OnlyFans, and those people have to know they're not actually messaging her. Like, these people are delusional. None of them are going to be like, what, she lied to me? I'm out of here. They're just going to be like, oh, this poor girl had to hide it as a secret because she's being abused. Like, clearly none of her fans are like, oh, she has a husband, I'm out of here. Because also she said she's separated from him, so she doesn't have a husband anymore and they think she's single. And she posted her OnlyFans earnings to Twitter to brag about it, of course, after she said she's done with it and she doesn't want to do it and everything. And now she's like, yeah, I'm so happy I'm doing it. Look at all the money I made. And, you know, I'm not even surprised by the money she's making at this point. A lot of people are like, look at all the money she made. You know, of course, everybody has to react to this. But is it really surprising anymore? And is it something to be proud of? You know, people should look at this and just be like, that is sad. And if she really did use this whole abuse thing to try to market it, I mean, that is pathetic. And if it were anybody else doing that, you know, if it was a guy doing something like that, people would have sniffed it out right away and people would have exposed him. It would have been over. But whenever a girl does something like this, it's like, oh, we got to feel bad for her. You can't question it. And people make up any excuse like this guy was doing. All right, so there's just one more thing I wanted to get to in this video. And maybe I'm out of line for bringing this up. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. But if you remember a couple weeks ago on New Year's Eve, I posted this video about the grifting of Andrew Schultz and how he acts like he's the pioneer of everything and he's always changing the game, but really things would have happened without him and he hasn't changed much. And also I talked about his most recent special that he claimed he bought back from a streaming service. And I mentioned how I think that story's kind of BS and how he used that to market it, and then he ended up releasing it on YouTube and all that stuff. So then just a week after I posted that video to Patreon, that channel Comedy Cringe posted a video to his channel that was pretty similar to it, titled The Comedy Special Scam Nobody's Talking About, which is kind of ironic considering I just talked about it. And maybe I'm tripping, you know, maybe it's just a coincidence. I did have a few people message me about it as well. But if you guys have seen the video, let me know what you think down in the comments. And also I did see in one of his videos, he mentioned that my channel was a big inspiration for him, and he's watched probably all my videos, and he said most of them multiple times.
One of my favorite YouTubers is Too Lazy to Try. He's been making content for a couple of years and he tends to focus on podcast culture, radio, and some internet drama as well. If you haven't already guessed it, he's been a massive inspiration for this channel. I've probably watched every single one of his videos, and a lot of them more than once.
So it's cool that he's a fan of the channel and he's been supporting it for a long time, it sounds like. And I'm happy for his success. You know, it's cool that I inspired him to start a channel. Now it's going really well. And I have no problem with him covering the same topics as me. You know, that's not the issue here at all. Like, I've had quite a few people reach out to me and be like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting my own channel similar to yours, covering comedians and stuff. And I always tell them to go for it. And I try to give them some advice. And usually part of the advice is to try to have some more original ideas. And Podcast Cringe, you know, he's doing a decent enough job with that to where I didn't really have a problem with it until this Schultz video. You know, this one just seemed a little too similar. And again, I could be wrong. You know, maybe it's just completely random coincidence. But the fact that we both had the same idea and he had a similar opinion as mine, and we made the same kind of video within a week of each other, and we talked about something that happened, I think, like a year and a half ago at this point. It just seems like too random of a coincidence that a year and a half goes by, anybody could have talked about this, and then right when I do, then he also makes a video about it. You know, like if this just happened a week ago, I could understand. You know, I don't care if people cover the same thing that I cover, if it's like a current thing and they have a somewhat different opinion. You know, I'm sure we've covered similar stuff before because we both cover a lot of current drama. Like if Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura get into a giant fight, I would imagine we're both talking about it, and it's not because the other person talked about it first, like they didn't get the idea from them. So I'm definitely not trying to say he can't cover stuff that I've covered first. Like I'm sure there's something he's talked about and I talked about afterwards as well. But with his Schultz video, it seemed like he got the whole idea for that video just by watching the Patreon one that I posted. Like if I had put that video on YouTube and then he posted his video, I would imagine most of the people in his comments would be like, all right, you're just kind of repeating his video. This is kind of unnecessary. And then to call it the scam that nobody is talking about, I mean, that's just pretty cringy, and I feel like he's just asking for me to call him out on this. I mean, already he admits he kind of got his channel idea from mine, and now he's getting video ideas from mine. I just feel like he can do his own thing. You know, he doesn't need to rely on me. And I'm not saying he can't do it. You know, obviously I don't own any video ideas or anything. He can keep going for it, but then he'll probably start to get some criticism. Like I have no problem calling out other podcast commentary channels, because also I feel like just the whole niche is going to be ran into the ground at some point. I mean, just like a year and a half ago, I feel like there are barely any videos on YouTube making fun of Bert Kreischer or Andrew Schultz or Tom Segura. I don't know if there are any making fun of Tom Segura, but now like half of YouTube commentary videos are making fun of Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. Not that they don't deserve it, you know, they were asking for this, but there's cycles on YouTube, and right now, obviously, the thing is making fun of comedians. Like even the biggest commentary channels like Sunny V or Patrick CC, they're making videos about this as well. And also it's funny, speaking of Sunny V, he also had a video where he got the idea from one of my videos, and at least he admits it in the description, and he linked my video. But when I saw this, I'm just like, damn, this guy must be running out of ideas or something. Like I don't even think my channel's that original. You know, people are making videos like this before me. Like obviously Red Bar, I'd say he's probably the OG when it comes to comedian podcast commentary. And then also there's Porcelain, I think that's one of the channels. And then Agostino Zinga, I think that's how you say it. I think he's been doing it for a while, and he probably deserves more viewers. You know, he doesn't even have that many subscribers. And then there's also Beige Frequency, of course, and he could take credit for the whole podcast comedian commentary genre if he wants it. Like I saw this on Twitter probably like a month ago. He said, or somebody responded to him and they said, "We know, we've seen your bad stand-up special reviews." And I guess he thought he meant like his videos were bad. So he responded to this guy and said, "My stand-up special reviews literally created a genre of YouTube video. Stupid." And then the person's like, no, I'm not calling your reviews bad. I'm saying you review bad stand-up specials. And he's like, sorry, I misinterpreted. And then also after that, I saw he was criticizing Shane Gillis. And then somebody posted Comedy Cringe's video about Shane Gillis and maybe Bill Burr. And they said, this is a video that talks about it, but it's slop. And Beige Frequency said, I'm sorry I started this. So he definitely hates the whole niche at this point. And it sounded like he might make a video about it. That'd be pretty funny. Because also, I did see he criticized me as well. Somebody said, too lazy to try as your son, bro. I see the DNA in all his videos. And honestly, I'd admit if he's an inspiration for the channel, or if I like took the idea from his channel, And I could see how maybe people think I did, but when I started, I think I saw like maybe 2 of his videos. I was not like, oh, I'm going to do this. I want to do what Beige Frequency is doing. Like when I started the channel, I wasn't even doing anything like what I currently do. And I kind of just stumbled into it because I followed the Fighter and the Kid subreddit, and then all the truck walk stuff happened. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this and see what happens. And it did pretty well. And I was already very familiar with Joe Rogan and his whole group of comedians, and there weren't many people talking about it on YouTube. So I figured that would be a good idea. But if I were to say I was inspired by anybody, it would probably be Red Bar. Like before I got into it, I did see quite a few of his videos, like about Big Mike and Joey Diaz and Tony Hinchcliffe and just Joe Rogan and Brendan Schaub and all those people. So I could say that probably inspired me to do it, but I wasn't that familiar with Beige Frequency. And he responded to this tweet that I just mentioned, and he didn't even say that I was copying him or anything like that. So maybe he doesn't even think that, but he did say, I feel like he just found a niche and shamelessly exploited it. Make videos to get views, but nothing critical enough to anybody's ire or retribution. Bottom feeder type, mostly. And I figured he didn't like my channel, so I wasn't surprised by this. And, you know, I just think this criticism is kind of funny, you know, because most people would say I'm too critical in videos and I overblow things and stuff. And now he's trying to say that I'm not critical enough, like I'm just doing it to get views and I don't get anybody's attention or piss people off or anything. So that's definitely a new one. And, you know, that's not really the goal of the channel, even though it does occasionally happen. You know, like Tim Dillon, I've gotten a copyright strike from him. And then also there's the whole situation with Brian Callen's mom. And then also one time Hassan, he reacted to one of my tweets on his stream and got all pissed off and responded to it, then blocked me. And Brian Redband, he took down one of my videos about this fight between him and Bill Burr. That's on Patreon if you want to watch it. And also my Howard Stern video. That was like one of my most viewed videos on YouTube at one point, and that got taken down, and that's on Patreon if you want to see that too. So, I mean, it does happen, but again, that's not really what I'm going for. And if that's his biggest criticism of the channel, that's fine with me. And I don't know why he ever stopped making videos or slowed down on making videos about like Brendan Schaub and, you know, Joe Rogan's Comedy Circle, because obviously that does very well. But maybe he just doesn't care about the views, which I respect. And I respect him taking credit for the whole genre, because some of these videos, you know, I don't want to be responsible for this recycled garbage. Like, I just stumbled upon this video. First of all, this thumbnail looks very similar. And then the title of the video is Tom Segura thinks he's Andrew Tate, which I've made this comparison a few times in my videos. I've talked about how Tom wishes he had the Andrew Tate thing going on. So then I clicked on the video, and for a second I was tripping. I'm like, is this a Chat GPT version of my channel? Like, just completely AI, just making YouTube content? But then I think it's just somebody writing a script and having AI talk it out. And either way, this is just garbage.
The time was right for taking a look at another washed-up comic who thinks he's better than everyone else. So I decided to analyze Tom Segura's insane delusions. Ever since he managed to make some money and to get in better shape, he seems to think he's Andrew Tate. He even uses the same language when mocking his average Joe fans for being poor. Listen to this.
Every time we talk about...
Yeah, so I could understand how people start to see this and they're just like, oh my God, enough. Like, this has gone too far. You know, like, all the comments are roasting him. The like to dislike ratio is terrible. Somebody said, bro, what's the point of this video? How are you providing any value? Somebody else says, hater for sure. Somebody else said, this video makes me like Tom Segura even more. And see, this is why I tell people to be original, because almost nothing about this is, you know, the thumbnail, the idea, what he's saying. I mean, it's all been said. There's nothing new presented in this video. And also, of course, he's talking about the same clip everybody's been talking about for the past 6 months or over a year. You know, he went on that rant over a year ago. People act like it just happened, but I mean, it's been shown so many times. I know I've shown it quite a bit. I'm definitely done with that, though, because this is just ridiculous. You know, I could start to understand how people are like, all right, this is just going too far. Like, this video is just completely recycled trash. It's so unnecessary. It's crazy. But of course, this is what's going on. You know, this is just how YouTube works. When there's a trend that's doing well, people are going to jump on it and try to capitalize on it, even if they're not doing anything original or providing any kind of value. But at least it's something else to make fun of. You know, I do find this entertaining and pretty funny. I don't know if you guys do. I don't know if you're interested in this at all. Let me know down in the comments. You know, maybe I'll continue to roast these channels if you guys want to hear it. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for subscribing to the Patreon, and make sure you hit the like button on Patreon and leave me a comment on Patreon. There's a lot to discuss here. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you at the next video.